when I was 16, I started up a construction company. And what I realized very quickly was it's expensive to run a business. So that's where credit came into play, and it kind of like changed my mindset. So are you gonna sit down and wait to save up 50K, or use the bank's money, use the investor's money? You're gonna invest this money regardless. Just make sure you invest it in yourself. The first ever podcast I ever did was with you, Bakari, and it completely changed my life. Those clips went viral literally overnight. I probably got about, now to this day, off of our content alone, probably about 6-7 million views.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Digital Faith Frequency Podcast. This is technically the first episode, so if you're joining me here, just want to say welcome. We're here talking about kingdom entrepreneurship and faith-based entrepreneurship, and how we can continue to grow as entrepreneurs in faith, how we can continue to share our stories, and really how we can leverage the digital space to make money online so we can stop selling our time. And so that's what we're here to talk about. I'll come here and interview amazing entrepreneurs. And today we're going to be talking about an amazing young man. He's doing great things in the area of credit. Started off with a construction business, grew his business, leveraged credit. He's been viral multiple times off of some of the content that we've created. So we're just going to talk about credit. We're going to talk about how he's leveraging the digital space and some of his marketing strategies and some tangible things that you can do in the area of credit to advance yourself and your business. So welcome, Mr. Credit to Wealth.
Thank you for having me.
What's up, man? How you feeling?
Pretty good. I can't complain. How about yourself?
Man, no complaints, man. It's been good. This entrepreneurship journey has its ups. It has its downs.
Most definitely.
But just staying grounded in my faith, staying grounded in my why. So that's been going really well. How about you? How are things going as we start off? Why don't you just start off by telling people a little bit about you and your background once again?
Yeah, so as of right now, I'm 21. In a couple months, I'll be 22. Happy about that. But I started entrepreneurship when I was about 14 years old. So I had a landscaping company and it ended up failing because I wasn't good with my finances. But I always had that kind of like spirit of creating a business and having my own income. So when I was 16, I started up a construction company, and I was just doing like handyman stuff around the house. My grandfather taught me the trades when I was about, I want to say 4 or 5 years old. So I know how to do some things. So like how to like fix a leaky faucet, replace a light, things like that. So in high school, I went around telling everybody, hey, if you need some small things fixing around the house, let me know. So a couple of my buddies put me on some jobs, and I just kept asking my granddad for more knowledge. So, hey, granddad, how can I fix this door? Hey, granddad, how can I replace the sink? And I just grew my talents from that. Yeah. So then by the time I graduated, I decided to not go to college, and I wanted to pursue construction full time. So my granddad and you two were my two best friends, learning how to do all these different things. And what I realized very quickly was it's expensive to run a business. Very expensive.
Yeah, there is.
So every tool is $100. And, I need a truck to be able to transport the tools. I need to buy the supplies because I learned that not everybody knows what to get. So I have to be able to go get the supplies myself to save time.
Yeah.
So that's when I learned about credit and leveraging credit to be able to say, hey, this job, I need a $2,000 tool. I'm able to buy it on credit and then make the money from the job, charge more than what the tool is worth, and then pay it off after the job is complete.
Yeah.
Versus I wouldn't be able to take the job in the first place and then basically get a free tool from it, a free asset, because I didn't have the credit to make that investment. And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, is to be able to scale and grow their business and be able to say, hey, I can make $10,000 off this project, but I need $5,000 to get started. Yeah. So that's where credit came into play, and it kind of like changed my mindset. And that's where I kind of dove heavy into the credit space. I started this business, I want to say, when I was about 20 years old, so 2 years ago. And that's when I wanted to help entrepreneurs leverage credit and be able to get those giant investments and those big returns by leveraging the bank's money and not their own.
That's so good, man. And when I think about you, because we've talked before, and
yeah,
if you guys haven't seen, go back and look at the previous episode where we were chopping it up. But I feel like you have like a rich dad, poor dad type story. And it comes to mind when I talk to you because if I'm not mistaken, your grandfather, he was teaching you more hands-on, tangible skills. But then there was somebody else that was teaching you about business and credit and how to be successful in that. Can you tell me a little bit about those dynamics and where did that other person come in to help you leverage the foundation that you got from your grandfather for you to really start growing in credit and business?
Yep. So it was my best friend's dad. He owns a very successful hand detailing car wash out of my area. And it was, I want to say we were 16, 15 or 16 years old, me and my two best friends. We were about to go to the beach, go hang out, whatever. And he stopped us. He was like, hey, what you guys doing? So we're going to go to the beach, go, hang out. And he stopped us. He said, you guys can go to the beach, or I can teach you guys how to be young men. So, we're a democracy, me and my best friends. So we kind of got in a little huddle. We said, we want to go to the beach and have a good time, but we also want to, see what he has to offer. So we agreed on just hearing him talk. And, if it's some good information, we'll stay. If not, we'll cut it short and we'll leave. We end up talking for about, I want to say like 6-7 hours. We were talking for a while. And we talked about a lot of things. We talked about religion. We talked about our faith. We talked about just being young, successful men, how to carry ourselves. And then he started talking about finances, credit. And we kind of listened about the credit part. He basically told us the basics of credit. So like to us, that's like getting an authorized user. What is credit? And then he really started talking about entrepreneurship and how he used the bank's money to be able to buy his shop, to buy his vehicles, to be able to start his business and create a $250,000 a year plus revenue bringing business. So from there, we took the information, we loved the information, and we just kind of like, I don't want to say we took it for granted, but we didn't dive into it right away because we were only 16. We didn't know much about it, nor could we dive more into it because the only thing we can do is become an authorized user. So at that time, I was really learning from my grandfather. My grandfather, that's when he was teaching me the trades. And he was, like you said, giving me that tangible skill where I can be able to leverage later. So the reason why that goes hand in hand is because by the time I turned 18, I reflected on that conversation. I spoke with him again, and he again gave me more information. And how they work hand in hand was my grandfather gave me the skill to create a business. But the knowledge that my best friend's dad gave me, that gave me not only the confidence, but the ability to leverage it to multiply my income from it and not having to wait to save money, not having to wait to, do whatever I need to do. I can just start it right then and there.
No, that's powerful, man. When you talk about that, I think about the theme of wisdom and the theme of like seeking, and a lot of times in the scripture it says, oh, we have to seek the kingdom first. And this idea of going to seek knowledge, seek wisdom, and a wise person they're not afraid of correction. They're not afraid of getting instruction. Whereas some people who are like, I don't want to hear that, and they move on and do their thing, especially at a young age. What made you go and seek that information at the ripe age of 18 and like, you know what, instead of going to do this or, trying to go party, I'm going to go and seek knowledge about credit. Like that's not the average 18-year-old.
Honestly, it was like sports that changed my life. I was top in the state for running for track and cross country. And my coach, Hoffman, he put me onto a lot of wisdom because I didn't have a father growing up in my life. The only male figures I had was my best friend's dad and then my grandfather. But within the household, I became the man in that household very young. So my coach, that was the only man I saw every single day that was able to put me on game about becoming a man. And not only that, it was the sport of running that taught me the discipline of just being humble. Yeah. That sport really humbled me. And I feel like me being humbled from that sport kind of pushed me to say, hey, I don't know everything. My coach, he seemed like he had all the answers. So I was able to go to him, hey, coach, how do I get faster? Hey, coach, how do I get a lower time? Hey, coach, what do I need to do today to become better? And that relationship I just brought into the real world where I knew, hey, this person knew more than me and he took me to this level in running. Okay, this person knows more than me in construction, my grandfather. So I went to him, hey, I need more advice. I need more game on how to become a better construction worker to brighten up my skills trade. Then Malik's father, my best friend's father. Hey, Mr. Hall, I want you to teach me about credit because I understand that I don't know everything. And I was humble enough to go to him and ask for it so I can be able to take the information and steadily grow from it.
Yeah, that's powerful. Just asking good questions and listening more than you speak is such a great way to advance yourself as an entrepreneur.
Most definitely.
Because you get an opportunity, whether you think you know something or you don't, you may get refreshed on some information or you may hear something in a different light that actually turns a piece of knowledge into a level of understanding.
Exactly.
Because just because you hear something, that doesn't mean you're going to actually understand it. So that's powerful. I'm interested to know for you, right, like outside of being young, right, 18, 19, there is this, even grown people at this point, 30, 40, and 50 are very scared to use credit to turn it into income and revenue for their business. can you talk to me about how did you build that calloused mental fortitude to say, I'm going to use credit and I'm going to turn it into income and not be afraid of what if I take out $10,000 and it doesn't work and I can't pay it back? How did you overcome that?
So I'll be honest, it was mainly because my first investment did turn out good. So the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of people have a negative connotation towards credit because they have either a direct relationship with it being bad, whether it's student loans or consumer debt, or they know somebody who's in a bunch of consumer debt or student loans and they can't afford to pay it back. So right off the bat, I saw that if I bought this $100 tools with a credit card and I work a job and make $300 off of it, that's a good investment. I was able to pay the tool off and keep that asset that I would have never had to complete that job and complete more jobs like that. So later, I did end up losing money on credit, but it would be the same as if I saved up in cash. So when I teach about credit and tell people about credit, you're going to invest this money regardless. Just make sure you invest it in yourself. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people think when I say turn credit into cash, they think like, oh, I'm going to just throw credit at something that's going to print money. That's not the case. When I talk about creating generational wealth with credit, I mainly mean you creating a business and leveraging credit to hone that skill that you have, whether that be, your digital marketing business, whether that's a construction company, whether that be trucking, something that you're good at, use the credit to leverage that. So then you can basically create an income off yourself. Don't invest in the others first, invest in yourself first. That's the biggest thing. And if you say, hey, I'm going to save $1,000 within 6 months so I can invest in myself, and you lose it, what's the difference between saying I'm going to start now but invest $1,000 in credit? If it fails, okay, now I can just pay the minimum every single month and still try to invest until you hit that one lucky investment and multiply your income and pay it all off in the future versus you just saving every single month.
Yeah. No.
That's my viewpoint on it. It's just, why save the wait cash? Because you're going to invest it, whether it's cash or credit. Yeah. So just start now rather than wait. Because there's people like me where it's like, I have the credit. So if I see an investment while you're sitting down waiting 6 months to make that investment, I'm going to swipe a credit card. I'm going to call the bank. Hey, I need a loan for this. Now that opportunity is gone.
That's really powerful. So that touches on the value of a good investment.
Yeah.
Because if you use credit and you put it into a bad investment, you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
If it's a good investment, you will be able to make a return on that investment. How do you identify what is a good investment versus what is a bad investment as an early entrepreneur?
So my biggest thing is, can I make sure I get my money back? That's my biggest thing. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, am I able to physically work to generate an income back on what I invest in? So for example, stocks, you can't physically work to generate that income. You have to predict the stock market. So I never recommend using credit to invest in the stock market. A construction company, I buy a trailer for $1,000. It don't matter how long it's going to take. I'm going to make my money back with that trailer. I recommend that for every investment that you use with credit is that you can extract some value out of it. Even with real estate. Real estate has been going up since real estate became a thing. It dips down in the market, but it's been steadily going up since forever. So if you buy that asset, just from the projections, you're going to gain your money back in some way because real estate is constantly growing in value. Look at home prices now and rent is skyrocketing right now as we speak. So when you invest with credit, invest into something that, for one, has proven success in the past for an extended amount of time, or two, a skill that you can work to generate that money back. Really good.
Really good. So obviously you are doing a construction business, and I think you even still do it sometimes now. And then you went into not just using credit and leveraging credit for yourself, but now you're teaching other people about credit. And to me, when people start teaching people about something, number one, it solidifies you as an expert in that field, but also it shows that this is bigger than just you wanting to use that principle for yourself. This is somehow attached to your purpose and you want to get this information out to other people. When did you identify that I don't want to just use credit for myself? I think this is a part of my purpose and something that I want to help other people with.
So when I really started seeing major success in my construction company, so I had a whole bunch of tools. I bought a truck, a trailer, ATV, about 20K worth of tools and equipment. And most of it was paid off because I made the right investments and I worked hard enough to be able to pay off those assets and generate more income. So from that construction standpoint, I was doing a lot of networking to grow my construction company. And what I realized was what a lot of people was being held back from was capital to grow their business. They were stuck because they didn't have enough revenue to be able to reinvest in their brand and be able to grow it some more. So I was able to help them. I said, hey, this is what you do. You build your credit up and you use your credit and make that investment. Once the investment pays off, then you pay it back the credit. So just by helping a few people, my friends, some close business partners, they gained a lot and they were able to scale and multiply their income 2x, 3x, 4x just by utilizing the knowledge that I had. And I found a lot of joy in that was the fact that I'm able to literally grow and scale businesses that I'm not even a part of just by me speaking. So from there, that's where I kind of had the confidence to be able to say, hey, I'm not going to leave construction. Of course, I still do construction to this day, but I want to put that on the back burner for now. I want to go more into coaching and teaching people how to start their dream businesses. And not only that, how to leverage and scale it just due to having the access to capital.
Yeah, that's powerful. So let's shift gears and let's give the people some credit tools, some credit tips, and some things they can apply. Let's say I'm somebody, I have decent credit. I have like a 700 plus credit score. I'm anywhere between 700 to 800 credit score. And I have a business. I'm maybe in my second, third year of business, and I don't really leverage credit right now. I just use capital, and I'm running my business off of a debit card, and I don't use credit. I'm kind of scared to use credit, but I'm like, okay, you know what? I listen to Mr. Credit to Wealth. I got access now to, let's say, $20,000 in credit. What would you say that person should then begin to do? What are those next steps once they get access to credit, but they're like, I don't know, I'm a little bit nervous to use it?
So first thing you want to do is figure out what's holding your business back from getting to that next level. You want to sit down and plan on scaling your business. So whatever category business you're in, that's going to vary dependent on the time of the economy. And then two, just what you want to invest in. So for example, let's say you want to have a digital marketing business and what's holding you back is lack of equipment. Use the 20K to be able to get more equipment so you can be able to do different types of recording, have a studio, get a studio to rent out, things like that. Things that are going to directly bring value and grow your brand and be able to get bigger contracts. So again, like I'm going to just keep using an example of a construction company. What I used with my money was a trailer and a truck. I didn't have a truck at the time. So I had a 2003 beat up Chevy Trailblazer, and it was difficult fitting all my stuff in my vehicle at the time. I had to go back and forth burning gas to bring all my tools and equipment. So I got a trailer and a pickup truck to be able to save me time and energy where I can just go from my house to the job site. I can go to Home Depot, get all the supplies in one go, directly to the job site. So you want to just figure out what's going to make you more efficient and invest that credit into it. Another thing is, like you said, let's say someone was using their debit card for, transactions for their business. How much money are you saving using your debit card? None. There's no cash back and no points. Versus use a credit card, you can get cash back on the equipment you buy, online shopping, gas, food for your business. It doesn't matter. So you're technically saving money. You're shopping at a discount just by using a credit card catered towards that. And then lastly, another thing is, again, let's say you have a $20,000 form of business credit. You can invest in others. So you can do partnerships where, let's say you have a videography business and you want to partner with someone who has good editing. You can use that to do a joint venture with somebody and then say, hey, I know what you're lacking is the software. I can use my credit to buy the software, but in return, you just have to edit my stuff for free or until you pay off the credit. So a service for service type deal. So those are a few ways you can leverage credit and kind of get out the mindset of just holding on to it and use it to actually invest in yourself and honestly into others as well.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's a great strategy. I'm gonna have to put that in my back pocket. No, but that's awesome. So let's say I'm somebody, my credit is not that great, and I have, let's say, a 400 or 500 credit score, and I can't really get business credit because my personal credit is not that great. Where do I go from there, and how do I begin to use credit to leverage it to gain wealth?
First thing is credit repair. So find a credit repair specialist and they will clean your profile and make all that information private. So a little information on credit repair, just because it's removed after credit repair doesn't mean you're not liable to pay it. So for example, collections, depending on the type of collection, you don't have to pay it. If it's on there, it's removed because it's not your debt. But student loans, you can get student loans removed off your credit profile, but you're still obligated to pay it because now it's that public information is now made private. So now only you and that bank knows about the debt. So keep that in mind. You're still obligated to pay it. It's just that nobody else can see it. But that's the first thing to do, is to first get everything removed off your credit report and basically start over. Then you want to start getting trade lines, which are just authorized users, and then get like a secure credit card. From there, start kind of building up your credit report with secure credit cards. Another thing is pledge loans. Navy Fed has pledge loans that you can use, which is essentially you put down $1,000, you put up a certain amount of capital, and that comes back as a personal loan. So you're basically taking a form of credit against your own deposit. And what that does is it leaves on your credit once you pay it off, a paid off personal loan. And that's going to help build your credit as well.
Oh, that's
and then from there, you want to just really, really focus on just having those good credit habits and building as much history as possible and using that history to build your credit score back up where it needs to be so you can leverage your personal credit to get business credit.
That's awesome. And you said a secure credit. A secure credit?
Yeah, so secure credit is it's a form of credit that has collateral behind it. So a secure credit card, your credit limit is the cash that you put on it. So technically, you can think of it like a debit card that builds credit. So Capital One, Discover are great secure credit cards you can start off with. So you put up to $500, your credit limit is $500. That's how that works. So same thing with a Navy Fed pledge loan. That's going crazy right now. Everybody in the credit industry is doing that right now. I'm doing it myself to build my credit. So it's when you get a personal loan, let's say I put up $5,000 to Navy Fed. I'm going to have a personal loan for $5,000, and then I can pay it off whenever I want. And then once I pay it off, it shows up on my credit report as a paid off personal loan, which builds history. And you can even think of like a mortgage. That's a secured loan, technically, because it's collateral. Because what happens if you don't pay your mortgage? Goes in foreclosure. What happens if you don't pay your auto loan? They repo your car. What happens if you don't pay a secure credit card or a secure Navy Fed pledge loan? They take the money you put in them already. So a secured form of credit is just collateral. And that's good at times, but the best form of credit is unsecured. When you can go in the bank and walk out with $30K with no collateral, because you don't have to put up an asset. You don't have to have an asset prior to getting that credit. You can just walk in and walk out with a whole bunch of credit.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So your ideology about credit goes directly against some of the loud voices in the area of finances, like a Dave Ramsey, who said, hey, pay off all your debt and never have any debt. What do you say to people who think like that? And, why do you think people have that mindset?
So there's 2 points. So the first point I want to speak on is I don't want to diss the age, but it's just a different generation. So back in the day, of course, yes, saving your money, paying off your debt, that was feasible. But our economy is at its worst in history right now. Not only are wages not increasing by any means, but our cost of living is multiplying every single year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it
so it's a lot harder for people to not only save money, but to invest it. So that's where I come into play and I say, hey, you don't have to wait 6+ months, a year, 2 years to save money to start your dream business, build your credit, and you can make that investment that can change your life. What I tell people all the time is, how crazy would $50,000 be in your life right now? People say all the time, oh, I can flip 50K into 100K. I can flip 50K into $250,000. I can put 100K into this investment and make millions off of it. That's what's stopping a lot of people. So are you going to sit down and wait to save up 50K or use the bank's money, use the investor's money? Because what a lot of people don't understand, banks are just investors. So why are you scared to borrow from the bank versus if, let's say, a famous rapper came up to you and said, hey, I want to invest $50,000 into you. What's the difference? You have to pay that rapper back. And it's more dangerous, honestly, to borrow from the rapper because the rapper going to come after you.
Yeah.
Versus the bank, there's legal action they have to take. It's a whole different field you're playing with.
Yeah.
So just think of a bank as just another investor. Another viewpoint is they are right, like a Dave Ramsey. Like a lot of people compare me to him all the time. Like in my comments, they'd say, oh, Dave Ramsey, hate you or something like that. It'd be funny in my comments. And I don't disagree with him because I feel like he's speaking on the consumer side. Don't have consumer debt. Don't buy Jordans, don't buy clothes, don't buy chains, don't buy junk food on your credit cards unless you're going to pay it off right away. Don't hold on to that debt because that debt isn't serving you no purpose. When I talk about having debt, I mean debt inside a business is going to generate you income.
Yeah.
Every single dollar that I have on my credit cards, on my lines of credit, my loans, it's generating me an income in some type of way. Whether that be an investment in another company or an investment in myself or investment in an asset, doesn't matter. So when they talk about getting rid of debt, I agree with them. You shouldn't have consumer debt. Why are you financing a PS5? If you can't buy a PS5 in cash, no, don't put it on a credit card. No.
Right.
You could have used that $500 for an investment for a clothing brand. That could have been your samples, your marketing, and your website right there. Now that is okay versus a PS5. No. So I do agree with them in some sense, but a lot of people do take it to the extreme where having no debt is like perfect. In the ideal world and the ideal economy, yes, having no debt would be amazing. I would love to have no debt. But keeping it real in our economy and times right now, and now that we're officially in a recession, we're going to be in some debt. So it's just, how do you want to live in it? Do you want to live in debt that's going to be consuming you, consumer debt? Or do you want to live in debt that's going to leverage your current state of income, leverage debt?
So when you think about good debt versus bad debt, consumer debt is bad debt.
Exactly.
Good debt would be debt that you could leverage to make investments and flip in a business as an entrepreneur.
Exactly. So here's another example. What do you consider student loan debt? Consumer or leverage debt?
That's a good question. It should be leverage debt because you should be able to go and make money based on it, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but that's still considered leverage debt because you took the risk of gaining that knowledge. So in no circumstance I will consider college consumer debt unless you're just drunk, partying at frat parties every single weekend. But regardless, leverage debt I will consider would be student loans, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you had a failed investment. You invested in a trucking company and the company failed. Although that company failed, that's still leverage debt because guess what? You gain knowledge. It's the exact same thing as if you went to school and got this master's degree in the medical field, but you're not even in the medical field. Now you're, let's say you're a marketing agent now.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get these degrees and don't even use them. It's the same thing if you had a failed investment. I started a marketing company and it failed, and now I'm in construction. That's not consumer debt still. That's still you testing the waters, seeing what you enjoy, because you got to understand, you're not going to find your passion right away. You're going to have to dabble and figure out what you like. And the sad truth is, it's going to cost money to do so.
Yeah.
So you can either kind of speed through it with credit and kind of say, hey, I don't like this, I'm going to leave it, go to something else. Or you can wait 6 months, save, test it out. 6 months later, you don't like it. That's a whole year wasted. And now you got to reset and do everything all over again.
Yeah, because at that point, you're using that currency of time.
Exactly. And that's more valuable than any physical currency here.
Yeah. Wow, that's so powerful. So talk to me about this idea that I heard you talk about before where you said the credit score really doesn't matter. And I saw a clip of you talking about this. And then I think the girl, she kind of got upset. She's like, what? The credit score does matter?
Yeah.
Talk to me about why doesn't the credit score matter and why do people get a little bit riled up about that?
Because people don't like the truth. That's what it is. People don't like the truth. So your credit score doesn't matter. And I'm going to break it down in one easy analogy. You come to me, right? Hey, Jeremy, can I borrow $100? I'm going to ask you for 3 numbers. What's your credit score? Think I'm going to give you the money off of 3 numbers? No.
Absolutely not.
Let alone hundreds of thousands of dollars. You come to me and say, hey, I want to buy a Ferrari off of you. I need, $300K off of you. All right, give me your 3 numbers. That don't tell me nothing. What I'm going to do is look at your report. So a hard inquiry, that's when a bank or a lender looks at your credit report, not your score. They're looking at all your history, all the relationships you have, all the missed payments if you have many, derogatory remarks, your age, all that information. When you put in a credit application, they pull your credit report, not your score. And off of that alone, what does your score really matter? Your score is a numerical representation of your report. So off quick glance, if you tell me you have a 700, oh yeah, you got a good credit score. Let me look at your report still, because no matter what, they're gonna look at your report. They can look at your report and say, he has a 700, but he only has 1 credit account. Why can't I trust him with $500,000 if he only has 1 account for 500? So I just always bring that up to people. It's just simply like, if your credit score really matters, for one, on applications, what do banks pull? They pull your credit report, not your score. And then 2, well, they also pull your score. Let me put that out there because a lot of people will be like, oh, they actually do pull your score.
Yeah.
They pull both. I'm going to say that. But also, if someone's trying to borrow some money off of you, would you trust them off of 3 lousy numbers? No, you're going to ask, if I'm known for borrowing money, you're going to ask the other people, hey, does Jeremy pay back his money on time? Did you have any complications working with Jeremy? And if they say, yeah, he paid me late a couple times, you're going to be like, I'm not going to work with Jeremy. But if they say, no, he paid me back early, actually, and he gave me some extra money on the side, too. You're going to say, oh, I would love to work with Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
Not off of 3 lousy numbers, but off my history.
Yeah.
The history is more valuable than the score.
Wow, that's so powerful, man. So the score is a representation of the report.
Yep.
But the score isn't going to get you across the line.
Exactly. So, of course, banks are going to have certain score requirements, like a 700 plus. That just means your report meets a certain criteria to get you over that hurdle. They're still going to look at your report. So, for example, I had people apply for business loans and they had a 700. You need a 700 minimum. Perfect. But 3 years ago, they had some late payments. You will still get denied because when they look at your report, they're going to say, yes, your score is a 700, so you meet the minimum score requirement, meaning your report holds itself in a certain criteria. But when they actually do a deeper dive, they can say, oh, yes, you're at a 700, but you had late payments. I still don't trust you to pay me back this money.
Yeah. Wow, that's so good. So we talked a little bit about credit and how you use credit to really leverage your construction business. And what I'm noticing now is that you're seeing a lot of social media success and you're actually building an online business. Can you talk to me about that transition and then begin to talk to me about how does credit help you not just for service base, but to really start building an online business where you're selling digital products or you're having a community?
So my transition was very difficult. I went from being hands-on to doing physical labor to me being on the computer all day, me being in front of a camera. I'm not used to talking to in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So I was making some content here and there, but I wasn't getting no traction really heavily until I want to say, what was it, last year summer when we did our podcast? So the first ever podcast I ever did was with you, Bakari, and it completely changed my life, like honestly. So I was in a point where it's like I wanted to get into content, but I wasn't getting no traction, so I wasn't motivated. Yeah. When we did our podcast and we had those clips, went viral literally overnight. I probably got about, now to this day, off of our content alone, probably about 6-7 million views. Wow. And I went from on Instagram 2,000-3,000 followers to that next week after I posted our clips to 24K. Wow. TikTok, same thing. I went from like 400 TikTok followers to now I'm at like 28K. Thanks to our clips. So I appreciate you for that.
Yes, sir.
But it was that really kind of like showed me that my voice really had meaning and I had information that a lot of people were in need of. Yeah. So of course you got haters out there. That's inevitable. People are going to hate on you saying, oh, this doesn't make sense, or he's too young, don't listen to him. But I noticed too, it was a lot of people that said, wow, I actually needed this. Yeah. So that kind of inspired me and motivated me to say, hey, I'm going to put the construction on the back burner and really focus on content. So then I started posting more and more and getting more consistent. And as you know, social media consistency is key. Yeah. People are going to be watching your content like a TV show. So as I got into it, I was able to create my own community based on my followers on credit and my ideology and my thought process of credit. And then I was able to use that to convert it to sales. Wow. So then I created digital products. I created courses, mentorships where people can have one-on-ones with me. I was able to create a funnel where it went from our content, so the millions of views I got from our content, to basically people that are ready to invest into me, and not only that, invest in themselves to purchase information and create generational wealth through credit by purchasing the items that I have through our content.
That's so awesome, man. And I appreciate that. I think one of the things that's interesting about that to me is that you already had the knowledge. You already had the information. It just took getting in front of the camera and putting it out there to people. And I think we see a lot of entrepreneurs who they have the information, they have the skill set, they have the coaching program, but because they're not in front of the camera, or to your point, if they're not seeing traction with social media, they're afraid to go ahead and keep creating content because they're like, well, is this going to be worth my time and my effort? Yeah. And you never know when you will get viral.
Exactly. And that's exactly how I felt. I was putting out content that I deemed valuable. It just wasn't my time yet. But then when we got on there and then I finally got that traction, that was all I needed. Yeah. And you can literally blow up overnight, where it's like exactly how you said, where you can have the knowledge, you can have the skills, you can have everything but the marketing, but the social media presence. And that defeats a lot of people. And it defeated me at one point until that viral clip got me going. And then it was like overnight success. I went from being a nobody on social media to now I'm a credit influencer literally overnight. Wow. Now people look up to me about credit. People literally come up, comment and DM me, Mr. Credit to Wealth. Like, that's so weird to me. I'm like, I'm Jeremy. What do you mean, Mr. Credit to Wealth? So it's like, overnight success is a real thing, but it's not overnight success and what a lot of people understand it to be or what they can perceive it to be. It's not that you just randomly overnight, now you're a millionaire. No, it's when you work so hard at something, you perfect something behind the scenes, and then when you finally do show it, it just seemingly blows up because everybody's attracted to it at the same time.
Yeah, that's so powerful. One of the things I tell a lot of people who I work with is that going viral isn't the goal, because there are times where you can go viral, but then you have nothing to sell.
Oh my goodness, no happened with us. Oh.
Like, you have no monetization strategy. So can you tell me a little bit about what happened once you went viral? Did you have a way to monetize? And if you didn't, what did you do to now be able to start monetizing what's the success you were seeing?
I'm so happy you said that because that was a very depressing time. So of course I was happy that I went viral, but I didn't have a system to capture everybody. So everybody was DMing me about credit repair, funding, this and a third. I wasn't ready for it. I was getting overwhelmed. I didn't have a system. So I probably missed out on probably tens of thousands of dollars on that. Because people were hitting me up, hey, I need more information. I need more of this. Do you have a YouTube? I didn't have none of that. So I'm like, dang, I missed out. So what I did was I stayed consistent so I can keep getting these views. And on the back end, I was working on a system. So then when I went viral again, I basically funneled them. So they see my content and they say, hey, I like this guy. They follow me. They see all my videos that I made. Okay, he's consistent. Okay, I want to buy his product. Now I got a link in bio where you can have all my different products. So now when I go viral, I get all these profile views, and those profile views, they translate into my website views. When I get those website views, those translate into my free community. My free community translates into direct sales. So it's a funnel that I created based on me failing the first time, because I'm like, oh my goodness, I got so many people asking me questions. I have no automation. I have nowhere to take them. But now I'm to the point where now I can have an automation where it's like, hey, this is what you want. Here, go here, and I will show you exactly how I can help you with that.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I'm glad you got that system set up, because now you can go ahead, keep monetizing and grow your business online.
Exactly.
Talk to me a little bit about, the consistency aspect, right? It's like you said, people watch it like it's a TV. It's very important to be consistent. What were some strategies that you used to maintain consistency on the social media space?
So one strategy that I use that I believe I learned from you actually was to have one dedicated day for content and then just schedule it throughout the week. Yeah. So usually on Sundays, I would sit down and record content I want to do at least 14 days. And then I'll just have a schedule, because it's really not hard, honestly. The hardest thing is getting started. That was my biggest thing, was actually getting in the mindset of I got to be in front of a camera. Because I like talking in front of people. I like having person-to-person conversations. I like being hands-on. Talking in front of a camera by myself is so difficult. So it's like not only having a set day to create that content, but also not being a perfectionist. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I want every video to be perfect. I need the best equipment. But then I was like studying content and people in my field and other fields and other genres of content. Most of the time, the videos that are good be like horrible quality. Yeah. Like once you build that community and build that trust of you either providing something, whether that's knowledge or entertainment, people really don't care about, the quality, the sound stuff. It's just about actually what you're providing them. So some people do blow up off of providing like good quality videos. Yeah. But a lot of people will be on their iPhone. I record a lot of my content on my iPhone half the time. Yeah. And it's just like, just me yapping about just random stuff that to me in my close circle is normal. But you got to understand everybody's unique in their own way. Yeah. And if you get out there enough, other people are going to be attracted to your uniqueness. So the biggest thing is to just get out there as much as possible and honestly record everything. I mean, that's what I got to get in the habit of doing, and I'm still learning. Just record everything, no matter how boring you think it is, because to somebody else, they want to be in your position. And that's what I had to learn.
That's so good. And you talk about just being yourself, right? That's a big piece of branding, right? Because we can be consistent as we want to be and we can market, but if we don't have a brand that really connects with that person on the other side of that screen, then it's going to be hard for you to really see success because you're not relatable.
Yeah.
How do you maintain a strong brand, and how do you maintain that relatability to the people who you serve?
So I'm really happy you brought that up, because I was actually recently just thinking about that. So we're not corporations. We're not Nike. We're not Adidas. We're not, Square, Shopify, whatever. We're smaller person-to-person businesses. So people really they care about your mission statement and your business branding, but they really care about who's running the business, because that's who's doing the business. Because you don't have a crew doing all your work for you. I don't have a big crew doing everything for me. I'm not the head chief executive. I'm pretty much everybody. And that's how most small businesses are. So people want to know who's actually doing the work. So, and then another thing to keep in mind too is that there's 1,000 other people, if not more than that, in your genre, in your niche, whatever the case may be, in your business field. You want to have people buy into you and not anybody else.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being personable and just being really, really unique in your own way, it's just being comfortable in your own skin, honestly. And that's what I had to learn, was just be who you are, because people are going to be attracted to you no matter what. There's always a plug for every outlet, my grandfather used to tell me. So it's like, you know, you just got to find your outlet, essentially.
Wow, that's so good, man. That's so good. Let's shift gears a little bit. I just want to ask you in general, right? Let's say somebody doesn't even have a business right now, right? They don't have a business and they don't have an online presence and they don't have credit, right? And I'm sure you were in that position at some point before. No business, no credit, no online presence, right? Where do you start? How would you start to prioritize those things as you grow your business?
So in a perfect world, I would say, of course, start building your credit up. Honestly, a lot of people are going to think that way. So we're just going off of just, you know, how people normally react. First thing is to have that business idea. Figure out what you want to do. Because, yeah, ideally, you want to start building your credit right away. But it would be no point if you don't know how you're going to leverage it. So it's just like, first, figure out what you want to do. Figure out what field you want to be in, what business you want to start, and start learning about it. Start studying. And what you want to do is recycle information. Because everything that I know, everything that you know, everything that everybody knows is already on the internet. It's already in books. Like somebody else already knows it. And you might not learn it from the source. You're going to learn it from somebody else.
Yeah.
And you want to become that somebody else. And you do that by studying. That's what you want to do. Find mentors, find books, find YouTube videos. Just study everything about whatever business you want to be in.
Yeah.
From there, at the same time, start that business, because now you have the knowledge on how to run that business. So you want to do a trucking company, learn about how to run a trucking company, make sure that's something you want to do, then start it. Form that LLC, get your EIN number, get your Dun & Bradstreet number. All this stuff is free. Then from there, recycle information online. Hey, here's tip of the day for this for trucking. Here's tip of the day for this for marketing. Here's something that I learned from this book, and just literally read the book word for word. Like, people enjoy that kind of content.
Yeah, they do.
So it's like, not only are you now starting the business and learning the business, but you're also building a social media presence. So that's free marketing now. So then once you kind of get things rolling, then I would say start building your credit. If you got zero credit, then get a authorized user, find somebody in your family that has very good credit or has a credit card that's in good standing, get added to that credit card and get a secure credit card and just practice using it like a debit card. You're going to buy some chips with cash? No. Put it on a credit card, pay it off right away. I'm going to get some gas. Don't use your debit card. Put it on the credit card, pay it off right away. And just practice those little disciplines of retaining and recycling knowledge, just borrowing money, paying it back, and then just implement in your lifestyle, you taking action. A lot of people don't take action. They say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, and never do it. Put some water in your face, slap yourself, hit yourself on the chest, just do it. Like, a lot of people just be holding back. And that's one thing that I feel like I was blessed with, was I was never the type of person to sit down and not do anything. I was always I have an idea, I'm gonna attack it, whether it fails or, it does well. If it does well, I'm gonna keep going. If it fails, I know when to quit and say, okay, I lost on this investment, whether it's time, money, resources, I lost, I'm gonna put my energy into something else now.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you do, right, is you give people information, you give them knowledge about credit, how they can take that to build wealth. Can you kind of talk to me about how does that tie to really serving people? And how does that tie into truly helping people outside of just monetarily?
Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's helping people achieve their goals, dreams, and freedom. So my thing is, I want people to be financially free, because one thing that holds a lot of people back is money. So a lot of people use it as an excuse to not, find God, not to find religion. Oh, I can't go to church because I need to work to pay the bills. Or, I can't go to gym and work out to have a healthy body because I need to work. I can't go out and literally just enjoy life because I have to work 12 hours every single day. Yeah. So outside of the monetary things with credit and, of course, what you can gain from it, it's about getting that freedom to be able to experience other aspects of life that are equally, if not more important than financial health. So I want people to be able to be financially healthy and explore other aspects of their life, because that's something that I actually still struggle with.
Yeah.
Where I don't have really a identity per se. I feel like my identity is credit, which I love. I'm not, saying I don't like it, but it's like I don't have hobbies. I play basketball, but that's pretty much it. Like a lot of my friends, they do archery, they skate, they have these cool hobbies, they fish. I never experienced that because growing up, I was always not having to work, but I wanted to work to be able to get in a better position.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to help people say, hey, I don't have to work today. I can make money with my social media presence, with my online business, and be able to have these extra hobbies and be able to, spend time with their families or do whatever they want. So I feel like my goal and what I was put on this earth to do was to help people relieve that financial burden that they feel when they're born, especially in America. It's tough that everybody has to be making six figures to be bare minimum okay, it seems like.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, and I feel like that's my purpose now, is to help people reach financial freedom through credit to be able to do the things that they want.
Man, that's so powerful, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with me again today. For anybody that's watching, I hope you learned something. I hope you gained some valuable information, valuable tips, but also just some perspective so that you can remove yourself from being stuck and move forward into faith and start doing what you're called to do. For those who aren't familiar with you on social media, tell them where they can find you and follow you on social.
You can find me on all platforms at Mr. Credit to Wealth, and it's the number 2. So Mr. Credit, number 2, Wealth.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming. For you all, go ahead, follow Mr. Credit to Wealth, one of the youngest, most advanced CEOs, entrepreneurs, not just in Chicago, I believe in the United States. He's doing great things in the area of credit and finance. He's doing great things in the area of social media and digital marketing. And you guys have to know this young man. He's doing great things. So I hope you guys got some value out of this. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see more interviews and conversations. This is the Digital Faith Frequency Podcast, and I cannot wait to see you guys on the next one. Peace.